historic Chicago Amphitheatre, the Renegade TNT Motorsports Monster Truck Challenge Series continues. Round one action, as coming out next is going to be John Bad to the Bone Breen and the Mad Dog Chevrolet taking on, I guess you might call this the local hero, Jim Miller, the Barbarian. It's a Ford from right here in Illinois.
Yeah, Miller's out of the Illini State. Would love to put on a good run in front of his home state crowd. However, out of Missouri comes a Mad Dog, John Breen, one of the drivers that's been at this sport. He was probably involved in the sport, Richard, and definitely in its infancy. I would say he's been driving monster trucks for well over 15 years. If anybody knows how to get a truck to work, it's going to be the Mad Dog truck of Breen. He backs up to go against the Ford. The classic battle shapes up, Ford versus Chevrolet. Illinois going against the state of Missouri.
Now, engine-wise, the Chevrolet of John Breen, 454 cubic inch. The Ford, 490.
Good run by Breen, working the left side of the track. He's going to be advancing. The Ford not going to be able to get the shot he wants. He'll have to wait for another day to go into the winner's circle.
So the Mad Dog with John Breen, he'll move into the quarterfinals, and we move on in round one competition. And here is John's brother, Bob Breen, the wild-haired Chevrolet, and he's going to be facing one of the top Chevy trucks in America. We're talking about Stomper with Starvin Marvin Smith. Starvin is out of Arnold, Missouri. The Chevrolet and the Stomper machine well known to all the fans across America.
Well, the interesting story here is Breen in the wild-haired truck. And I tell you what, all last year, this truck was a guinea pig. The one closest to the camera, they used it as research and development. They found out what they wanted to find out. Now they've taken the horsepower and put it in this truck, and it seems to be working for Breen. However, like you say, Marvin Smith sitting off to his left is going to be a tough hombre to get by in this. Oh, Smith, we've got a problem.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But the Stomper comes back and takes the win. Marvin Smith takes the win. But wait a minute.
Richard, I don't think they're going to let it stand. Wildhair is going to be declared the winner by virtue of a false start. You notice we go back to the replay.
I don't know about this call, Army.
Well, Alan Goss, right on the starting line, the Renegade track official. What happened when they put the truck in gear, the torque converter locked up and pushed it maybe 2 or 3 inches, but that is forward motion. That's considered leaving the starting line.
I'll tell you what, an awfully close call, but they have ruled Stomper has been disqualified, and he is out of the competition. Coming out next is Doug Spanier, the master of disaster, and look out, Doug. You're taking on a dandy. It's the rookie driver, David Morris, the equalizer machine out of the volunteer state of Tennessee.
Morris is the kid that everybody's going to be watching out for this year. This truck is completely different as far as the theory behind it. It has coil-over springs. The engine is located behind the driver and low for a real low center of gravity. A lot of people think that David Morris is going to be the man to beat this year. That's a strong possibility. Look how smooth he is off of that right side of the track, Richard. That's the first win we've had off of that right side.
So dangerous David Morris, and the equalizer Chevrolet gets another win under the belt. Dave will now move into the quarterfinal round of competition, and he's going to move over to Army.
Well, David, you're going to the next round of eliminations, and notice that the builder of the truck is already headed back to the pit area with it. Did you have any kind of problems on that run?
Yeah, I don't know if carburetors are loading up on it or what. Still having a little problem keeping my engine running, so I have to get him to take it out for me. Shut it off, I might not be able to get it started.
That is Gary Porter, the driver of Carolina Crusher. I think he's found him a replacement hood for his car, Army.
Yeah, a part-time auto repairman there. What he's doing, he's getting that hood out of the way. That's a safety move. I like it.
All right, earlier in the show, we told you that the defending national champion, Rob Litzow, is not here. We're going to show you why. In our first night of competition in Chicago, the defending national champion had disaster strike him not once, but twice.
Richard, on this replay, I want the people at home to watch the front wheels on the truck. What you're going to notice is the front wheels will continue to turn. The brakes working only on the rear of the truck. He's a little bit out of shape when he lands, bounces to the left. Now he has to throttle to straighten out. After he throttles, he cannot stop the truck.
Bam. Right into the wall.
Now, what happened here, we were not aware of it, nor was the crew aware of it at this time. A front axle had broken on the truck when he lands right here. The truck kicked over to the left. Now, at this point, you must throttle to get it back down. He was on the throttle. The rear wheels, you notice, are locked up. The front wheels not stopping him, take him right into the wall.
And Rob Litzow had the truck pulled out, went back to the pit area, came out to race again, but look out, disaster one more time.
Disaster exactly is what happened here. Litzow, not knowing the front end was broken, literally wedges the truck under the upper barrier here in the stadium. This was a very, very tense moment on this tour. Everybody was scared to death. Again, I want the people at home to notice the front wheels. They continue to turn. The brakes are not working at all. He comes up and wedges the truck right there. He didn't even get to the wall. The front of the truck barely touched the wall, but look at the driver's compartment, Richard.
And we're happy to say Rod Litzow got out of the truck. He was transported to a hospital just as a precautionary move, and he was released from the hospital okay. And it's kind of ironic that earlier in the day, Army, you spent some time talking to Rod about his reckless driving style.
I do like to push things to the limit. Anywhere I ever went racing with cars or anything I've done, I always like to push it to the limit and I like to win. The thrill to me in driving a monster truck is how much power. It's like the most power in a motor vehicle around right now. It's big, powerful motors, and we can destroy anything. It's just, I love the power in them.
Well, perhaps another day, another time for USA 1. Who will be the king of crunch car racing in Chicago? When we return, it's quarterfinals on the Renegade TNT Monster Truck Challenge on ESPN. For the superstars of professional monster truck racing are in the quarterfinals now. It's got to be Carolina Crusher Gary Porter against Super Dave Wysorick and Nightlife, two Chevrolets, Army.
Porter sitting in the far lane, quick qualifying time, gave him lane choice. That could be awfully important, but Wysorick has really pushed me to the limit. The Crusher's going to advance, but believe me, Wysorick made him work for that, Richard.
So Gary Porter out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, takes that powerful Chevrolet into the semifinals, and he is going to be facing the winner of this matchup, which has Dennis the Menace Anderson and Gravedigger taking on Doug Spanier and the Master of Disaster.
Richard, I'm interested in something here. I'm keeping an eye on where they line up. Now, you remember, the Carolina Crusher has already made a statement to it. The left lane's the place to be, and Anderson says the same thing. Eventually, they're going to work to each other. That could set up literally a war over who's going to get lane choice. The awesome red lights of the Gravedigger working the left side of the track. Spanier with the Master of Disaster really out of shape. Ends it up.
A good run by Doug Spanier, but not good enough as Gravedigger will advance. And he is going to be facing Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher in the semifinals. Let's ask Dennis about that matchup.
Gary Porter, he's still in this thing. Gary Porter wants you. He's pulled no bones about it. He wants to come after you. How do you feel about that? It looks like you might just have him in that next round.
Well, Carolina Crusher's tough, and I'm tough, but I've got something for Carolina Crusher.
Whoa, listen to Dennis Anderson and his confidence. Army, you got any idea what Dennis has up his sleeve?
No, but I wonder who's going that left lane when they do meet, Richard.
That'll be interesting as we find out who is also going to be in the semifinals with this next race. It is John Bad to the Bone Breen and Mad Dog against Jesse Berge playing for keeps. Jesse gets to come back as our second fast loser in the opening round of action.
Breen works the left side of the track. Berge comes over to the right. Now, Jesse Berge's running a lot of horsepower, but he's not a supercharged vehicle, and it's a short wheelbase vehicle. This truck is not really in the atmosphere it wants to be in. It's not handling real good for him. Mad Dog is going to advance. Berge's going to have to wait for another day.
So another easy win for John Breen out of Barnett, Missouri in the Mad Dog Chevrolet. He will be in the semifinals coming up in a few minutes here in Chicago.
John, we're down to the final four. You're going to be one of them. What are your plans?
Just hold it wide open is the only thing you can do. Everybody's running real hard, and to beat them, you really got to hammer it.
Now, wouldn't it be neat if John could face his brother Bob in the semifinals? We'll find out as Wild Hair and Bob Breen faces the rookie, dangerous David Morris and the Equalizer. David has been really the rookie sensation thus far this year, Army.
Well, he and the truck, the rookie driver is doing a great job, but the truck is working super well for him because of suspension engineering. Look at that now. Bream is running more horsepower than he's ever had, and the kid still drilled him on the starting line. This Equalizer truck is unique, Richard.
And one thing interesting is David Morris is the only monster truck to win coming out of the right lane on the track. So he moves to the semifinals, and we move to an introduction of the Equalizer truck.
Once again, the chassis is one of the most important parts of any motorsporting vehicle, and everybody's got their own idea of what works in a monster truck. Now, standing with me right now is really a second-generation individual involved in motorsports, that being Gary Cook, the gentleman that owns and is responsible for building the Equalizer monster truck. And, Gary, one of the most unique things about this truck and the chassis setup you have for your driver is the engine location. Can you tell us about the engine location and why you built it that way?
We felt like the truck would balance better by getting the engine as low as possible and to the rear to get the weight off of the front end so that when you hit, it won't tend to nosedive. It'll tend to try to level out more so than nosedive. Kind of a stock car. I used to run stock cars for several years a long time ago, and we tried to take some of the principles from stock cars over into this.
The softness is a result of spring setup and a different front suspension you have on the truck with the A-frame type setup or the wishbone. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it lets the front axle pivot without pivoting the body. The body can actually ride separate, you might say, from the axle. The axle can move without moving the body so that you don't whip the driver around as bad. And also we have a suspended seat, so when he hits, his seat can give down some so that helps him take some of the abuse.
Well, when we return, Chi-Town heats up. It's Carolina Crusher against Gravedigger, and Mad Dog takes on the Equalizer for the semifinals. It's all straight ahead on ESP.